Good evening, my amazing things. Welcome back, or welcome to the Cavern of Secrets. I'm Kasara, the host of this channel, which is a little bit of everything. Some horror, a little true crime, gaming, and everything in between. I hope you all are doing well and having a fabulous day. It's finally Friday. Tonight's horror movie review is Cobweb, and I don't always do horror, but lately that's all I've been doing is horror reviews because, well, why not? There will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen this movie and you'd want to, you've been warned. It is available on Hulu for those of you that want to see it and haven't. Now you know where to go watch it. It might not be a holiday movie, but for me, it's always Halloween, and this movie does take place around Halloween, which is perfect. And to me, I think Halloween and Christmas should be merged. And for me, it's Yule, not Christmas. I actually celebrate Yule. Anyways, so Cobweb is about a middle school boy named Peter that is bullied. His parents are very strict and they don't seem to pay any attention to him. It doesn't seem like there's any love there either. It's just, I don't know. Something's off. That whole dynamic. Peter's substitute teacher, Miss Devine, feels there's something not right about his parents, but her coworkers tell her to stay out of it, especially if there's no proof of abuse. And there isn't. It's just, when you know there's something there that just doesn't seem right, you want to help, but you don't know how. And I've been in that type of situation. It's hard. Peter eventually starts hearing sounds in the walls at home. His mother at first tells him it's an old house, bound to make creaks and shifts and noises. His parents are still being woken up in the middle of the night from their son decide it's rats clawing in the walls, I should say. So they use poison, which is horrible. And Peter notices that it smells sweet, like cinnamon. That's when the sounds start to change from the clawing and creaking to a voice. Specifically, a little girl telling him about his parents, that they're not who they seem to be. And this voice starts to warn him that they might trap him or hurt him, since they did trap her and harmed a trick-or-treater who came by when she asked them for help. Of course, Peter takes things into his own hands, hoping to save this little girl who he learns is his sister. Only he finds out that his sister is quite angry for how she was treated by their parents and hell-bent on revenge, and doesn't care who gets in her way. The problem I had with the movie was some scenes were unnecessary or made no sense at all. For instance, when Miss Devine meets with the parents after Peter was expelled to give them his last quiz, and it was just an excuse to come by, of course, because she wanted to see the parents and check on Peter because she was worried about his well-being. Mark was bleeding from his arm and kept carrying around a hammer, which was just weird. What was the point? What was the entire point of it? I kept thinking he was going to kill Miss Devine, because obviously she was snooping around. And the fact that he had blood on his arm and just nonchalantly, oh, it was just a loose nail that caught my arm and I'm just doing some remodeling. Like, it was no big deal. There was no point to it to me. Anyways, the other scene that made no sense was when the demonic mom in the middle of the night showed up in the doorway, scaring Peter almost to death before he wakes up in his mother's arms. didn't really make any sense to me. I didn't get it. Why? To scare the audience? To make us think there was something wrong with the parents? Yeah, we kind of got that. Uh, I honestly think they tried too hard to push that there was something wrong with the parents for us, the audience. And by trying so hard to show the audience that there was something wrong with the parents, they went in an unbelievable direction. Keeping them strict and unsure what to do with their troubled son was more believable, especially when taking into consideration the story that the voice was spewing to Peter. That was more believable than the demonic mother in the middle of the night, his dad being a little weird um, towards Miss Divine, how his mom kind of went a little berserk for Miss Divine worrying about Peter's well being. They also made the girl too monster esque than human, which was problematic as well. Yeah, I understand that her being trapped within the house would have altered her appearance, maybe, but not to what they were showing. It was too weird. She seemed more like a demon or something than a person, especially how she contorted her body, her eyes glowing in the dark. It almost felt like they were about to write a totally different story altogether midway, especially when the intruders were being killed the way that they were. It was bizarre to say the least. For those of you who have seen this, what were your thoughts? I read that some people felt this was similar to Barbarian in terms of a locked up creature escaping and wreaking havoc. Did you like Cobwebs or even Barbarian? Do you agree that it is similar to Barbarian? I honestly don't think so. I think, to me, it's completely different. I actually found Cobweb halfway decent compared to Barbarian. Cobweb, I would have given a 3 out of a 5, and Barbarian, I'd give a 2, if that. I'm finding I'm not a huge fan of modern horror movies. Don't get me wrong, there have been a few great ones here and there, but this year I haven't seen too many amazing ones. Let me know what your absolute favorite horror film of this year has been in the comments. And don't worry, I will not judge you if it has been one that I didn't particularly care for. Everyone has their own taste, and that's what's so great about movies. And we all have our own fears, and each movie plays on those fears, I think, and that's what makes them more personal, I guess you could say. More why they're scary for some of us and why they're not for others. Uh, for instance, I always bring this up, and part of it's because it works so well. So The Ring scared the bejesus out of me when I first watched it. I had nightmares for months after watching The Ring, to the point where I was actually getting so little sleep that when I was awake, I would actually see her sometimes, Samara. And when some of my friends found out in high school, they actually made fun of me because it didn't scare them. They thought the movie was really stupid. They didn't understand how somebody could be afraid of that movie to that extent. But for me, for some reason, it was just so terrifying. I don't know why. I have no idea why Samara scared me so bad. I've seen it Since then, I've seen Ringu, and Ringu is by far much better, in my opinion. But uh, I've seen The Ring. I've also, of course, seen The Ring 2, and I've seen Rings. Rings wasn't as scary as the first two, and the second one actually, I think, was a little bit more terrifying, just because of the fact that Smara possessed her son. I forget the woman's name, to be honest. But that's just an example of how some movies are terrifying for some of us and not scary for others. And it's horrible when a movie that does scare us is belittled. When it does scare us and it didn't scare others. And they make fun of you for finding it's scary. I did hear that some people found Skinamarink terrifying, and me, I didn't find it scary at all. I actually found it boring. It almost put me to sleep. In fact, I was so bored by it that I had to rewind it a few times because I was spacing out and not paying attention at all. But, it depends on the person and the movie playing on their specific fears. And I think that's great that a horror movie does that. And I do apologize if my analysis of the movie and my breakdown of it and how I felt about Cobweb makes you feel a little bad that you found it scary, because if you did, that's okay. Me, I did find the demonic mother terrifying, and I kind of wish they went with that instead. That would have been a hell of a lot better than what we got. In my opinion, though. See, that's what's so great about film, is it's all on how we interpret it. But let me know what your favorite horror film has been this year. Or even the last, we'll say 5 years. The last 5 years. Maybe I've seen it, maybe I haven't, and it doesn't even have to be an American horror film. I actually love foreign horror films, and I'm actually finding that I prefer foreign horror films over American. And I think the reason behind it is because it's different. It's a different culture. So they use their own myths and legends and their own fears, their own cultural fears, which is totally different from American fears. Which I like. I like that it's different. It's something that I haven't seen before, because a lot of our movies seem to be the same damn thing over and over and over again, and I'm just so tired of it. It's either demons or ghosts, which always turn into demons, or it's some grotesque creature now that was once human that became a grotesque creature from being confined, like Barbarian or Cobweb. Or we're getting zombies, which we actually haven't gotten many zombie movies lately, which I'm kind of happy about. I got so sick of zombies. Although I've never been a huge zombie fan to begin with. I kind of miss the vampire films, to be honest. Although we haven't really gotten a good vampire film in a very long time. I haven't seen the Demeter, although I'm not a Dracula fan, which is probably surprising to some people, but there's a reason why I'm not a Dracula fan. Learning the true story of Count Dracula, yeah, I'm not a fan of Dracula. But anyways, so Yeah, leave those in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around to the end. I hope you all have a great evening and an amazing weekend. Next week, I'll be returning to Secret of Mana and reviewing the Fall of the House of Usher. Stay tuned and take care until next time, and thank you so much to the new subscribers. It's greatly appreciated, and for your support. And welcome to the Kingdom. Thank you so much again, and take care until next time. Bye, everyone.